We are live, and welcome back everyone who was on the last session, and very welcome to you if you've just joined us. My name's Anthony, as you know, and we've got a couple of people here to introduce you to. One is this gentleman here, Juan Manuel Gonzalo. Juan Manuel, where are you at the moment? In Castellón, is it?
Yes, in Benicarló, in north of Castellón.
Okay, must be a fine sunny day there.
Yes, but yeah. I can't go to the beach.
Because we're still confined, are we? And we've asked, welcome back Jose Maria, who was with us yesterday on the live interviews, to join us, just in case somebody asks something technical, particularly about the Cava de Paraje. So for those of you listening, watching,
hi, hello.
We have the chat facility on the right. You can say hello and say where you're from, and please ask lots of questions, because we organize this as a question-answer session, kind of a round table, all about Cava. So I think Juan Manuel is going to, has got some questions for me, actually. He's written some questions, and so I'll start the question-answer. Fire away.
Okay, Anthony, how did the Cava competition 50 Great Cavas come about?
Right, well, that's an interesting question. Just quickly, to about 10 years ago, we had some interns who came to the company, and they worked in retailing, wine retailing and wine tourism, and there was like 4 of them, and I just had to give them something to do, and so I Googled something about Cava, because we're based in the Penedès wine region, the Cava country, and I put in best Cavas, best buy Cavas, 10 best Cavas, all sorts of things, and nothing was coming up, nothing at all about Cava for the consumer. So, so I had what turns out to be a brilliant idea of organizing a competition just for Cava, and just for fun, actually. It was give these people something to do, where they would, we would send out a mail shot, see who was interested in the competition, and they would go and visit visit the producer, write an article about them, and prepare a kind of a book about each producer, and then we would judge the wines, judge and taste, rate, and give them a score. And the first year, was about 10 years ago now, we got 53 Cavas, so we just got 50. We made the 50, so three didn't get in, and that was it. That was it. And then next year, producers were phoning up, sending emails saying when can we send Cavas in for the next year's competition, and we said, well, actually, it was just a one-off. We we didn't plan to do it. So that was so many producers asking. We decided to do a second edition, and then we got some interns that were designers, and they made a beautiful PDF, very professional looking, much better than the first year. And so then the third year came, and we kind of said, well, we're gonna do this every year, and so much so we actually got through in 2016. We actually did a book of 50 Great Cavas. So that's how it started, and that's how it's kind of got a reputation now from wine importers, particularly because it's the only competition around the world only for Cava. So if you're buying Cava or looking to buy Cava as an importer, it really is a good, point of reference, and you get reliable, objective information about Cava and the producers.
Okay. And another question is possible for Jose Maria. What of grapes can be used to make Cava?
I might not have heard that one. What grapes can be used to make Cava? Well, I can answer that one if you like. Well, in the Penedès region, there are basically three main varieties. There's the Xarel·lo, Parellada, and Macabeo. But there are other permitted grapes that can be used to make Cava, and they are Chardonnay. There's one called Subirat Parent, which probably not many of you have heard of. It's kind of a clone of Malvasia. Garnacha, Pinot Noir, Monastrell, and Trepat are all permitted to make Cava. But the main ones are the Xarel·lo, Parellada, and Macabeo. I actually have a question back to Juan Manuel. Varying these three grapes, what does each one add to the product of Cava? If I put 70% Xarel·lo, 20% Macabeo, and 10% Parellada, what am I doing exactly?
Okay.
Is that ridiculous, or what does each grape give to the taste, the smell of Cava?
Okay, in my opinion, for my experience, the Macabeo would be the body, a certain structure, volume, and provide some floral and white fruit aromas. Parellada provide freshness, so a punch, and help to reduce the degree of the base wine. And Xarel·lo, for me, is the queen. Is the center of the base wine. It's a skeleton. This is the elegance and the most important, the authenticity. Provides fruity aromas, citrus, tropical, and aromatic herbs, something like that.
Can I talk about? Because interestingly, in our cavas in Can Sala, we are only using two of the three traditional grapes. We are only using Parellada and Xarel·lo. We are not using the Macabeo. And that's very interesting because we are in Mediona. Mediona is in the highest part of the Penedès, 400 meters above the sea. And Parellada is the queen grape there. So we are in a Parellada region. And the weather climate, the change in the weather is helping us to get much more complex parelladas and much more alcohol content parellada. And this is allowing us to produce Cava just with the parellada and the Xarel·lo. And we are trying to make always majority or the same percentage of parellada and Xarel·lo. And this is a thing that makes the Can Sala very different of the other cavas with long aging or with extended aging, because most of the cavas are Xarel·lo based. In our case, normally it's 50% parellada and 50% Xarel·lo, or more parellada than Xarel·lo always.
Interesting.
That's interesting because in the competition, Can Sala was one of the gold medal winners. Of course, tastings are done blind. We have no idea who the producer is. So we must have thought it was good because we gave it a gold medal. So that combination of parellada and Xarel·lo.
And the Xarel·lo. Well, the parellada gives us the freshness. It gives a lot of aromatic flavors, a lot of elegance. And then the Xarel·lo helps to give a little bit of body, a little bit of alcohol content. But with that, we are getting parelladas now that are 11, 10 and a half potential alcohol content. So that's a lot for the parellada. 20 years back, it was impossible to have parellada with more of 8.5, 9 degrees.
Okay. Do you have another question there?
No. One thing is the most important is no variety can be defined without its context. This is the context. The Kansala is different and another places, and without the terroir, it's impossible. Can be say parellada is better than other, or charelo is better.
No,
than
it's
other. The
it's
parellada
impossible.
from Kansala is good, and the parellada in other place is not.
Yeah, but this is very important because what you are saying, because this is the secret of having different cava, no? Playing with the terroir, with climate conditions to make cavas that are unique and different.
Okay, Juan Manuel, do you have another question for me? You said you had 3 or 4.
I'm only a curiosity. Is where in Spain is cava made?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think it's the only denomination of origin in Spain that is not defined, not restricted geographically to one particular area. In fact, I would even go as far as saying in the whole world. Though somebody told me once somewhere in South Africa there's a denomination that's scattered around the country. I've got here a map. That's somebody there a lady drinking a glass of cava, and here we go. So most of the cava is produced here in the Penedès wine region. That's here, and you've got a little spot here. That's Melilla. In fact, this map's not right, actually. I think there's an importer has. Well, basically, the 95.5% of cava is produced here, and then you've got here you've got the Requena in the Valencia province, and you've got the Extremadura producer Via de la Plata, and up here you've got even cava from Rioja, and you've got cava from Aragon, Calatayud. So most of it's made in the Penedès region, but you can get cava made in other parts of Spain. Why is that? Somebody might ask. Somebody might put that on the chat. How can this be? Well, as I understand it, and maybe Jose Maria can back me up on this, is that some time ago that it was permitted that certain municipalities, parts of Spain, were sending their grapes to the big cava producers, and as this happened, they were later allowed to make their own sparkling wine under the Dio Cava label. Is that right, Jose Maria?
Well, I think it's more about they were producing their own cava. I don't think that at that time, because this comes from 1984 when Spain joined the European market. Then, because we were forced to drop the word champagne or method champenoise from our labels, and then the idea is to make a geographically region appellation, but they had the acquired rights of the people that were producing in Aro or in Almendralejo and in Requena. And they protested into the Spanish government about the rights that they had been producing the cava, and then the government decided that the appellation was more a method of production than a geographic region. And this is because of that, of the different places where cava can be produced.
I see. Good. Okay, so anyway, to answer your question, Jose Manuel, that was it's an odd one because it's not restricted to one specific part of Spain.
But now,
okay.
excuse me, let me add a little thing. Now in the new reglement, we are changing the Cava reglement, and
All right.
it's going to be in the labels. We will have to show the region from where the Cava is coming from. So there is going to be a sub-brand. So it's going to be Cava with a sub-brand that is going to be the specific region where it is produced. So it's going to be like Cava Requena or Cava Mediterranean. It would be the part of the Catalonia area. It would be Cava Valle del Ebro. It's going to be Calatayud and Calahorra. So it's going to be, the names are not defined yet, but it's going to be approved or it's been approved. So probably in the next few years, we are going to start seeing these changes in the Cava.
I see. Okay, is that a good thing, do you think, or is that just satisfying the Penedès crowd producer?
I think it's a good thing, but it's going to complicate a little bit more things for consumers. I think for consumers around the world, it's very difficult to understand what is a Cava and where Cava is coming from. If now we are adding more layers, more sub-brands, complicating labels, can make difficult for people in Tokyo or in Nebraska to understand what is the product. So simplicity, sometimes simplicity is key to market the product.
Yes. So actually, Cava is complex, not simple as many people think.
Yeah, Cava is complex, yeah.
Okay, Juan Manuel, any more questions there from?
One question. Jose Maria talked about the method, the traditional method, and my question is, what's the difference between Cava and Champagne?
The only difference between Cava and Champagne is not in the production method. The difference is in the weather, the climate, the terroir, and the grapes that we are using. They are using Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, 2 red grapes and 1 white. And we are mainly using 3 grape varietals, Xarel·lo, Macabeo, and Parellada. The process, the system is exactly the same. Mm-hmm. There are a few more differences, like the time that we can age our cavas, but the production is exactly the same method.
Okay. Another question, another cultural question, is what categories of Cava are there?
Well, there are 4 different categories of Cava. We have the traditional Cava, just Cava, that would be aging a minimum of 9 months. Second fermentation and aging in the cellar for 9 months. Then we will have the Cava Reserve. Cava Reserve is aging a minimum of 15 months. Cava Gran Reserva or Gran Reserve ages for minimum of 30 months. And then we move up to the top category, top tier, that would be the Cava de Paraje, that ages a minimum of 36 months. And then we have another subcategories that would be the Brut Nature, the Brut, the Seco, and the Semi-Seco. Brut Nature is the driest, is when you don't add any dosage or any sugar to the final product. That you can have a little bit of residual sugar after the second fermentation, that would be less than 3 grams per liter. Then you have the Brut, that you are allowed to add up to 12 grams per liter. Then you move up to the Seco. Seco, if I'm not wrong, is less than 23 grams. And then you move up to Semi-Seco, that is up to 32 grams per liter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just checking the Bible on that. And so the dry is 17 to 32, and medium dry 32 to 50, and sweet is over 50. So
over 50.
And before any more questions, I've got a quick poll here, looking at now, thinking more about exports of Cava for the audience. Simple question. The biggest export market for Cava is it the UK, Belgium, Germany, or the USA? You can all vote now, your answers.
What?
We just let the people do the quiz. The biggest export market for Cava is on the right of your screen. You should see the poll. I'll give you 10 more seconds. Okay, so somebody's got a question, saying the USA. Somebody, hello from Rikenna. Okay, so a lot of people are in the know. It seems that Belgium is the biggest export market for Cava, isn't it? Jose Maria?
No, I think Germany is the biggest market.
No, it's not actually. It is Belgium.
Belgium is
I have it on authority from the DO Cava.
from the DO Cava. Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing, well, okay. I thought I will vote for Germany. I got that wrong.
Yeah, you would have got that wrong. Yeah, and you're the. So talking about export markets, like look at the UK. You know, they're Prosecco mad, and probably paying more for Prosecco than Cava. What's the problem exactly for somebody like the UK market to import more Cava than say that they do Prosecco, when Cava is clearly a product made exactly the same way as champagne, which is, you know, a different price league. What's your experience as a producer of the walls of exporting to countries such as the UK, if indeed you do export to the UK? What's the problem with Cava?
I think, well, Prosecco has a few things that run in its advantage. One is the simplicity. We were talking before about simplicity. Prosecco is a very simple product. Everyone understands Prosecco and has a very clear tasting profile. Everybody knows what is going to find when they buy Prosecco. This is one thing. And then another great advantage for Prosecco is the Italian gastronomy. Everybody, in every little village in the world, there are Italian restaurants, pizza restaurants, pasta restaurants, and that makes a great advantage. It has been a big open door for Italian products around the world. It's much more difficult to find Spanish restaurants, good Spanish restaurants in many countries. I think we have an advantage, that is the tapas. I think the tapas concept is a good concept for the Spanish gastronomy. So it's something that Cava producers, wine producers in Spain, we have to play along with the tapas restaurant to get our products introduced in the different markets.
Right, it's interesting. So basically, working hand in hand with the Oreca market will be a way forward to difficult countries that are liking something like buying Prosecco. I mean, I've been to lots of events in the UK to do with tourism, and I always ask, what is it? And I always expect them to say English sparkling wine. And many are serving Prosecco when they should be promoting their own English sparkling wine, which is bizarre. So I don't drink it. I just go and ask for a beer instead. Right, so we've just got about 5 minutes left. Do we have any questions? Okay, no? No, do we have any more questions, Juan Manuel?
One more.
Juan Manuel?
What's your favorite Cava?
Sorry? Oh.
What's your favorite Cava?
Right. Well, my favorite Cava is I like quite easy drinking, so 24, 30 buns. Don't you know, sit on terrace with friends, that kind of Cava. One particular one I like is actually made with the Subirat Parent variety, which is unusual, 100% Subirat Parent. I think there are only 2 or 3 producers in Penedès working this variety, or using it as to blend with the Charello, Parellada, and so on. So if there's got Subirat Parent in it, I like it, without naming any producers. How about you, Juan Manuel? What's your favorite Cava?
My favorite is the Corpinat Sabatei Coca, pero in the past is Cava, and nowadays is Corpinat.
Well, Corpinat is no longer Cava, so.
Yes, actually, this year because we've done 10 years, we're looking to do a publication called the 50 Greatest Cava Producers Ever, based on all the competition results over the last 10 years. And the top 3, I can tell you, were Gramona, came out first, being consistently getting gold medals. Of course, they're no longer in it. They can't participate because they've created their own brand. And then came Agosti Torello. And then came the surprise, which was a producer called Adanats. Adanats in the province of Tarragona. Turns out they were making exceptional Grand Reservas. And first year they won a gold medal, and importers found out about it. They're sold out completely, literally within the same week. It's all gone. I mean, I'm not talking millions of bottles, talking maybe 7,000 or 8,000 bottles, but it was all gone, just like that, because the news got out, they got a gold medal, and nobody ever heard of Adanats, internationally speaking. So, so that's an interesting point, I think, to make about the really is good quality Cava. I mean, Jose Maria's making fantastic Cava, but not participated as much as the others, so it didn't get higher up in the ranking. So absolutely not. Well, absolutely not. Albertina from down in Requena, the producers from Corpinat cannot enter the competition because they're not Cava, and we call the competition 50 Great Cavas. But we do have a competition called 50 Great Sparkling Wines of the World. And so anybody from any country, from any DO region can participate that and compete. But competition is judged on traditional method, Charmat method, Frizzante, or any other kind of fizzy drink that's alcoholic. They're all judged separately. We don't judge Proseccos with traditional method. That would be ridiculous. So they could participate in 50 Great Sparkling Wines of the World. This is another competition we actually organised as a spin-off of Cavas, because people not in the DO Cava said, can we participate even though we're not in DO Cava? We said no. So that's how 50 Great Sparkling Wines was created, as a consequence of comments from producers. Okay, well, that's time up at 5 o'clock. So thank you, Juan Manuel, for joining us. We look forward to judging the next Cavas, which will be the 50 Great Cavas for 2021. And hopefully the COVID doesn't put people off participating. And thank you, Jose Maria, for your expert knowledge on the world of Cava.
Thank you for having us.
And as I said, this will be recorded, we put it on the website so people can watch it again. Right, so next up we have live sessions with live interviews with producers. We're going to put up the link at the top, the right there. or at least my technical team will. There it goes. So you click on there and we'll be live again at 5:30 with 3 producers from around, well, in fact, one is Gramona. So we'll be talking to Gramona, Corpinat and Penedès. We're talking to Bodegas Costa del Cio, the Costa del Segre, and we're talking to Bodegas y Viñedos Milenko from the Ribera de Duero region. So it's going to be great. Tune in and see you back here clicking on the new link at 5:30. And of course, we'll finish the day with a fantastic seminar all about e-commerce. You must not miss that. If you're in the import, export, selling wine business, that's going to be an eye-opener. For those who may be burying their heads in the sand, don't get online and get to it and defeat this coronavirus. Okay, so that's at 6:30. Okay, so next up, live interviews, wine producers from around Spain. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.